Top 10 Darkest Secrets of Coca-Cola. Love or hate their drinks, everyone knows what Coca-Cola is. But what many people may not know is the dark history and facts behind this world-famous drink. While we don't know everything that's put into Coca-Cola, we do know that they most definitely use water. It takes a lot of water to make just one bottle of Coca-Cola, and this has resulted in poorer countries not having any access to water due to Coca-Cola factories using up all of the liquid. You wouldn't think that working at a Coca-Cola factory could result in anyone dying, but that's exactly what happened to several Coca-Cola factory workers in Colombia. This resulted in the paramilitary group giving Coca-Cola an ultimatum: be quiet and leave, or die. Coca-Cola obviously wants to be the biggest beverage company in the world. Although, their size hasn't stopped them from buying out companies in order to make as much money as possible. Few people bought their product and Coca-Cola lost a lot of money, so they left before they could lose any more cash. Then in 1977, an Indian company called Thums Up appeared, and they sold their own fizzy drink. Coca-Cola had already left, leaving the opportunity for another company to take its place. Coca-Cola ended up buying the Thums Up company and rebranding it. This caused people to think they're giving their money to Thums Up, but it really ends up in the pockets of Coca-Cola. We also know that we need to drink a decent amount every single day, but there was a time where Coca-Cola was completely discouraging against that. All Coca-Cola wanted to do was make as much money as possible by encouraging people to drink Coke over water. This campaign was supposed to get waiters and waitresses to push Coca-Cola on customers instead of boring, old water. Coca-Cola was trying to get restaurants on their side by saying water would simply bore the customers, and that Coca-Cola would instead make them feel buzzed. Maybe they assumed customers would spend more money on food, which would benefit both Coca-Cola and the restaurants in the long run. Coca-Cola faced criticism when a woman from New Zealand apparently drank herself to death by drinking too much of the soda. Just how addictive is Coca-Cola? There's no doubt that many people drink Coca-Cola several times a day, but what's never acknowledged by the company is what makes their particular ingredient so addictive that it has the ability to lead to an adult's death. The 90s were a time where things were slowly changing in regards to what we ate and drank, but Coca-Cola was quick to jump and make certain that kids would drink their products and their products only while at school. The company would hand over money to schools, which would result in Coca-Cola getting the rights to sell their drinks in said schools. This resulted in one New York school getting a stadium with a giant Coca-Cola sign, which meant kids were being advertised to even when at school. Coca-Cola clearly has no issues trying to beat out their competition and make as much money as possible. Because of the drug laws that have been implemented, these farmers in Peru can only sell their products to Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has always been branded as a company that promotes unhealthy, sugary drinks. It is a fact that Coca-Cola's drinks contain quite a bit of sugar, and we all know that sugar can lead to obesity. Coca-Cola, however, was funding scientists who would instead place the blame on people simply not exercising. Coca-Cola wanted the world to know that obesity had nothing to do with what a person consumed, and everything to do with their lack of movement and exercise. A lot of people claimed Coca-Cola was being extremely irresponsible with the data they were sharing, as it did not take into consideration just how damaging sugary drinks can be. Coca-Cola used to contain traces of cocaine in their drinks. It might sound like some silly urban legend you heard at school, but it is true that the fizzy drink used to contain the drug. There have been countless disagreements on how much was featured in the drink, but the fact is that Coca-Cola used to use coca leaves in their products, and some say that they still do. In 1903, the company began to slowly but surely remove cocaine from their drinks, mainly because a lot of white Americans became worried about the overwhelming amount of African Americans who were buying Coca-Cola. Many weren't allowed to use fountains, so they ended up just buying their own drinks instead. At this point we all know that Coca-Cola had traces of cocaine in their drinks, but did you know that Coca-Cola was originally meant to be a straight-up alcoholic drink? Coca-Cola was supposed to be simple but sweet-tasting wine, but Prohibition came around, making the overall drink illegal. That was when the creator of Coca-Cola decided to include cocaine into the drinks instead. This was, of course, a time before people really knew what kind of damage cocaine could actually do. While Coca-Cola never seems to really acknowledge the odd things in their drinks, they were criticized recently because of reports that were released. The report stated that Coca-Cola did indeed contain traces of alcohol, which doesn't appear to be written anywhere on the bottle.